What's going on, everyone? TC Ty Kidley here, and it is week 9 already of the college football season, and some okay matchups in the Pac-12 this weekend. But let me reiterate that in week 9 already, it's gone by fast for me. I don't know. It seems like the football season just started 2 weeks ago. But we still got to chug along here. We only got 5 games this week in the Pac-12. Arizona State and Washington State are on byes. And the rest of the games are within the conference, so it should be a good weekend. There are a couple games that could have some bearing on the long run in division race titles and getting to that Pac-12 championship game. First, we go a little bit under the radar with Utah. And Utah had a road game to Arizona last weekend and lost by a touchdown. I thought they were going to win that one. They looked really good, but once they got their toes out of Utah and out of their home state, they kind of were a little shell-shocked, I guess, and failed to put up points against Arizona and stop them as well. This week they traveled to SC, and they're kind of a little bit of road-tested, I guess, after 1 week of the road. A little bit of a trip out of Salt Lake. So I think they are going to do a little bit better this week against a road opponent. They go to LA to take on the Trojans, and the Trojans just got back from a pretty sloppy, ugly game in South Bend against Notre Dame. It was 10-14 at half. No one scored in the second half. Tommy Reese went down for Notre Dame, as well as Marquise Lee went down in the first half, I believe, and then he did not return. Once again, the Trojans' offense did not look very good. No real downfield threat, and they're going to need that against a lot of these Pac-12 teams. And Utah, who stopped Stanford last weekend, 2 weekends ago, and held them to, 14 points offensively, not special teams included. So I like this test for the Utes. Can they get back on their feet after suffering a loss? And can USC finally get back on their winning ways? And it will definitely help that they're at home. I kind of lean towards USC because of that, and because they can probably turn it on when they wanted to, as far as wanting to throw it all around. They definitely have the talent there. But for some reason, at the last few hours, I decided to go with the Utes in this one, 21-20 over the USC Trojans. And I'm thinking Utah will do it. I like Wilson. I like their offense. But can they hold that Trojan offense to only 20 points? That has yet to be seen. We move on to another lower game on the totem pole. Arizona traveling to Boulder to take on the Buffaloes of Colorado. Arizona, like I said, coming off that win against Utah last week. A good little confidence booster for them, and they'll have another kind of tune-up week here in Colorado. I don't think it's going to be that close of a game, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout as well. Colorado had that FCS game against Charleston Southern last week, a little bit of a makeup game for that canceled game against Fresno State in week 3, I think. And so that will definitely help them. They still have a ways to go if they want to get bowl eligible, and they're going to have to pull up some little bit of a conference upset. And Arizona is probably going to be one of the easiest challenges. They get them at home and a lower team in the South. But I don't think it's going to happen. I still say Arizona up fairly big, 38-17 over the Buffalo. In Seattle, we have what seemingly is a little bit better of a matchup than it seemed like a couple weeks ago. California comes to town to take on the Huskies. The Bear Raid did not get it going last week against Oregon State, got trampled. But Washington kind of on the decline as well. They got destroyed by Arizona State last weekend in Tempe. And can they rebound as well? I think Keith Price is looking like he's going to be out for this one with that thumb injury. A little bit of banged up crew. We have a linebacker that I think might not be playing as well. We just definitely need a backup quarterback to not really step up and be the superhero, but he just needs to get the ball to the receivers, and the receivers need to do that. And then Bishop Sankey, I don't know how he's doing as far as health, if he's 100% or whatnot, but he only got, I think, 22 yards on 25 carries last weekend, so he definitely had a bad game as far as this season goes. Arizona State did a very nice job of containing him and the rushing game. But the secondary has not looked good the past few weeks. First against Marcus Mariota, and then second against Taylor Kelly. And California is going to be throwing the ball all the way around the field. And can the secondary step up and at least limit those throws, not allow the guy behind the safeties, and allow them to score it? I think this one's going to be closer than people expect. I do think the Huskies are going to pull it out, though, because of defense and because they do have the talent at the running back position. I'm going to be at this game. Actually, it's a late one. I think it's 8 o'clock Pacific time, so it's one of the latest games I've been to. I'm going with Washington in this one, 35-27 over the Golden Bears. Next up, Stanford at Oregon State. This one is also interesting as well. Oregon State on the uptick in recent weeks. Their defense is getting better, and their offense, led by Sean Mannion, is getting better as well. Sean Mannion finally getting some Heisman hype around the country. I think he's around 4th in a lot of people's, maybe as an aggregate, I guess. But they do have Kevin Hogan and the Stanford Cardinal coming to town, to Corvallis. Ty Montgomery on a tirade the past few weeks in the month of October, and they're only favored by 3.5. And this is a good matchup, I think, for Oregon State's passing game and the Stanford secondary. It's going to be interesting. But I think Stanford, just because they are that big, bad, powerful team, they showed that last week in their big win against UCLA on primetime TV. They won it 24-10. Stanford will win this one because of Oregon State's lack of defense. And unfortunately, that's not how Sean Mannion wants it. I think he's going to have a good game, but Stanford will pull it out 31-28. And college game day is back in the Pac-12 for the second time in 3 weeks. UCLA travels to Eugene to take on the Ducks of Oregon. Oregon looking very good still. And yeah, I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. UCLA, like I said, coming off a bit of a humbling defeat. Brett Hundley was kind of looking to make a name for himself as a Heisman candidate with a big statement win against Stanford, and then taking that momentum into Oregon and trying to knock them off. And that might have been a top 5 game had other teams lost. I mean, had of UCLA won because of other teams losing. But UCLA showed some weaknesses last week, and I think Oregon will take advantage of that. Oregon looking like one of the best teams in the country right now, as they have been pretty much this entire year. And incredibly, the Oregon-UCLA spread is 22.5 points in Vegas. And that, I was kind of flabbergasted by that, but I could almost see it. I'm going with Oregon 44, UCLA 24 in this one. I think Marcus Mariota has a field day. And I'm not sure. I think DeAnthony Thomas might be back in this one as well. So that's definitely not a good sign for UCLA, especially coming off like I said, humbling defeat against Stanford, even though they are still looking like the South Division candidate for the Pac-12 game. Like always, tell me what you think about my predictions and what your predictions are for this coming weekend, and just your thoughts of Week 9 in the Pac-12 football world. Thanks for watching.